Is this thing working? Dana, hi. My name is Hank the Tank. I am 8 and 11 in predictions on my podcast, and I want to work for ESPN. Short notice. Let me do this play by play, please, Dana. Please, Dana. I'm sorry. What was that? What was he say? What did he say? What's his record? What's his record? 8-0, sir. He said he was 8-0. Oh, and how old are you? 20s, Dana, 20s. Well, we need somebody with energy who can deal with Chiesa and Rashad at the desk. Get over here. Welcome to the UFC. Hey, what's the name of your podcast? Oh, Skate Tank MMA. Troopers and grinders. I'm here, Hank the Tank. I got a brand new microphone that I totally bought with all of my own money. So I'm really a contributor and a beneficiary, a philanthropist, if you will, for this podcast. And to my left is the very kind and benevolent Idaho Skatesman who actually helped me pay for this mic so that I could actually be a professional in this thing. And we will be covering UFC 308. And that's about it. So mini fucking stream from Hank the Tank and Idaho Skatesman this time. And it's because PFL, Smellator, fucking Ryzen, KSW, Cage Warriors, all those fucking cowards refused to show up this weekend, which honestly wasn't that smart because 308's a pretty big show. High caliber talent, stacked card from top to bottom. Like you'd think that they'd have bigger shows happening on the day of the pay-per-view, but I guess competition doesn't exist anymore. And hey, that's all right for the UFC.
There will be a boxing card, Regis Prograis versus Jack Catterall. It'd be a pretty good main event.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the undercard, but I don't know. I think it's good that we have 308 solely to focus on this week.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to deal with an Ngannou and Ferreira while I'm watching, prelim fights that are actually good from a UFC show. Like multitasking can suck sometimes when it's a lot of good MMA. But yeah, and I'm happy because we don't have to stress ourselves out wasting an hour and 30 minutes talking about a bunch of other cards before we get to the UFC. We'll just give you the fucking cream of the crop right out of the gate. But first of all, we have to go through the all-important Hanks locks and underdogs, which are very, very vital to this channel. And how is it going? Paradox the Chad, he is here, and he loves the Skate Tank MMA intro, and he's got a problem with the Mission Impossible Countdown song. What's wrong with you, Paradox?
He asks if I have done something to my face and I look like Don Fry. Yeah, tribute to Don Fry.
Yes, that is a
Dave
purpose.
Severn, all the legends of old. Yeah, got rid of the terrorist look and went with the classic Mexican mustache. No, really, what happened was hanging out with this girl, and she said she liked my beard, so shaved it off.
Yep. Hey, stay away. It's time to scare the hoes, Idaho Skatesman. You got to be fearful.
It's spooky season.
Yes, that is true. So you gotta scare those women away, bitches. Mm-hmm. But yeah. And speaking of scaring all the women away, speaking of scaring all the women away, here are all my Tapology picks that I worked on over the week. Yay! First of all, we had my lock for this is I believe Aries FC 26 Tekanam versus Meneses, and my lock for this card was a man by the name of Moreno Kakapur.
We need to talk about this. This already happened.
That is true, but I am mentioning it because my lock and underdog both hit for it. So I was very, very happy with the outcomes for this. We were dealing with fucking Bosnian Bryce Hall over here on the right with the Idaho Skatesman beard and the Top Gun glasses. I'm glad you shaved it, buddy. I think we're all very glad about that. But Kapakor was able to stuff most of his crappy little single leg picks that he does to get into those knee bars, and he just did the ground and pound for the first round TKO. So just always remember, when Hank the Tank's picking somebody, he's got to do it by the first round or nothing, because it's not going to be in any other round. So that was good for my lock. And then there was one more. Here we go. This was very memorable, and I was watching this live with Isha and the City Life Project. We had Mr. Paulin Begay getting a knee to the body against this big fat tub over on the right. Salim El Aswadi, who is middleweight. He's got the DC build, Idaho Skatesman, where he's like way too short for the division, so he just lets all the weight go outward going into his fights. And it did not help him here. because good old Bagai was able to knock him out with a knee to the body, which must have been really rough for the big boy. And it was in round 1 once again. So again, whatever Hank the Tank does with his picks, it's got to be in round 1 or else it's not going to happen. So there we go. Pretty good. It was a women's main event, so who the fuck cares? But overall, in terms of Hank's picks, did pretty well. So hey, I'm happy with how my Thursday went.
Yeah, I don't think we really needed to go through that.
But then there is one more, though. There is one more show that we are going to have on Friday, and that's going to be LFA. Yes, sir. And Hank the Tank has his lock and underdog set for that. Also, the main event, like the dude on the left, he's got a fucking like Minority Report 2002 like eyeglass like on the left side of his face, like he's in a futuristic. I wish. He definitely needs that. He needs an eye device for his blind eye, Michael Bisping style. We got Justin Wetzel here on the right. You see that little like purple eye device he's got on the he must have
not showing your screen.
Oh, sorry. This guy right here. Let me there we go. Zoom in. Look at this little eye device he's got going in the way.
I think it's a Dragon Ball Z power.
Oh meter. Yeah. Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? And he's going against Usmanov. Hey, I'm Swain.
Yeah, he's in the chat. He says the Akatsuki background is fire. Hell yeah, thank you, bro. And I think this is the first time I've seen you in here, so shout out to you.
He was here for Hank's Think Tank on the last stream, and we had a good rapport together. So I'm happy to have Antoine Willis in the Skate Tank Army. Also, this background we have is really good for thumbnails, especially on the Sunday recap streams. I love doing those. But if you recognize the guy on the right, that's because he competed on Tough recently. Last season,
nobody knows who he is, and nobody cares.
Well, he had the best fight on the whole season against the other guy, and they were going to war, a bunch of fucking knockdowns. It was good. And also, if you look downwards, you'll see AJ Fletcher, who had a fight with Brian Battle in the UFC and got absolutely smushed by Battle, and now he's been doomed to LFA, which is just a tragedy worse than death. But let's get to the locks and underdogs, shall we? It's got some names. LFA actually has some names going into this card, which is a bit of a shock. The first lock I have will be a woman by the name of Leilani Hodgins taking on Deanna Betterman. I'm going with her by round 1 sub. I might be a fool for this one, but I don't care. It just seems very unlikely that a fighter with absolutely 0 contests in MMA can somehow beat a 6-0 opponent with submission finishes against fellow 4-1 and 6-0 strawweight fighters. If Deanna Betterman is the better man, then so be it. But she's fully unproven, and Hodgins seems like a menace in LFA. So, c'est la vie. I think she gets a round 1 sub. It's going to be round 1. The Hank the Tank way. At least when he's not just picking regular fights, in which case it's always round 2. And then we have our underdog, and it's going to involve poor old AJ Fletcher. I'm going with Dante Shiro by decision. I don't think
name.
What?
Dante Shiro? That's kind of a cool name.
It is a memorable name. It's like, I wonder if he was a voice actor in the Devil May Cry series at some point. I don't think AJ Fletcher is all that good. Sure, he had his moments against Brian Battle and beat Themba Gorimbo by Gilly Goose Gang, Dustin Poirier style. But he just lost a few months ago by unanimous decision to a 4-3 opponent on the regional scene. Dante Shiro, for better or worse, went to a split decision with the proven Logan Storley. And aside from Luca Poklet, has looked solid in most of his recent fights. I think Fletcher's washed, and Dante's pulling this one out of the bag by busting that ghost. AJ Fletcher goes by the ghost. Out grappling and outpointing him for the split decision. Who you going to call? Ghostbusters! So there you go.
He's like really white. He's like clear.
Yeah, he should call himself the albino instead. It would fit better. Yeah, that is Hank's locks and underdogs. I had a good record today, and hopefully I have a good record tomorrow and the next day. We'll see what happens.
Cool. Well, with that regional MMA bullshit out of the way, we can finally get to what you came here for.
The sweet sauce.
UFC 308 preview and picks. So again, Hank the Tank, he does all the heavy lifting with the research and stuff. Me, it's the first time I'm even looking at this card. I know some of the fights on it, but yeah, we'll get right to it. So you got Rinat, Fakhretdinov.
Great
he's a welterweight against the debuting Carlos Leal. Was this on short notice?
It was on short notice. I think he was supposed to be fighting the guy, Nurulstan Rusaboev. I think that was supposed to be his opponent.
You should read my private message, by the way.
Nope.
So yeah, so Rinat is 23-2. Had a draw with Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos in his last fight, but this is the man that sent Kevin Lee into retirement a year ago. Last got a split decision against Nicholas Dalby. I remember Hank the Tank and I were pretty split on that fight. So Carlos Leal is a LFA guy, getting a knockout in LFA in his last fight. UAE Warriors he fought in PFL, and yeah, that's where he had most of his fights. Losing to Sadabusi by split, nothing wrong with that to me. Tell me about Carlos Leal. What do you know about him?
I know that he is a heavyweight. Wait, no. He's a
Now
welterweight.
you're too quiet.
Oh, sorry. How's this?
Too loud.
How about now? Hello?
I think you're good. I don't know. You're just like really close to your mic, so it's like.
All right, what about now?
Yeah, it's perfect.
All right.
I would just move it away from you a little if you can.
Okay. How about this? All right. So Carlos Leal. Let me think. What was his last fight? Yeah.
So wait, you didn't do a lot of research on this guy? You haven't seen
Well,
him fight?
he got outpointed by Sadabusi at one point,
By split.
Yeah, by split decision, and the rest he's been winning. Oh yeah, that's right. So he's been a mainstay in the PFL as part of its welterweight tournament style, and he's had pretty competitive fights. He's not exactly a knockout artist as of late, but yeah, he's winning his fights decisively against pretty good guys, and now he's here on short notice because they usually need him for the Middle East shows. So there's always one short notice Brazilian on these cards.
I mean, we kind of know the game. I mean, Carlos Leal getting some knockouts on his record. Rinat more of a grappler, grind you out. I mean, just look at the beard. I mean, we know what this guy's about. I think I'm gonna pick Rinat by decision. Just kind of not seeing a lot of Carlos's fights, but
Yeah.
Again, not really sure. I just and not only that, the fact this is in the. I mean, you said that Carlos Leal was on UAE Warriors. They needed him for the PFL shows in the Middle East. I think that the favoritism will definitely go in Rinat's favor. With that being said, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Rinat. Just not knowing a lot about Carlos.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rinat Fakhretdinov by decision as well. Oh God. Here we go. If you really think about it, we got a gladiator versus a lion here in Rinat the Rat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal. Rinat, who's an absolute beast on the ground with an unprecedented gas tank and pressure game against the apex predator with one-punch knockout power and the ability to crush cans with ease. Sorry. I just felt the situation felt very appropriate for Robin Black to make an appearance because their names are literally the gladiator and the lion. So he'd do one of his little metaphors, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway,
the Roman Colosseum.
we got a middle-aged fight for the masses. We're going to see some blood spilled. Also, I'm going to bring in
Akshay. You guys are a hake. All right.
You guys are a hook.
A hoke? All right. Well, hey, Max Holloway. Hey, I feel you, man. Good to see you in here.
Well, he won't be a hoke when he sees my pick, but I am leaning towards Rinat Fakhretdinov. Rinat's a dominant wrestler aside from...
You haven't even started reading the notes yet?
I have been reading the notes.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that was all shit in your notes.
Yeah, it was all... I wrote all of that for Robin Black. So there you go. I gotta give him his lines, otherwise he doesn't do so hot. Rinat's a dominant wrestler aside from Eliseu Zaleski. While Leal is some welterweight in the PFL, Uncle Fester is called last minute to fight on short notice. I think I know who I'm picking here. I don't see Rinat getting chinned by this dude with very little preparation for his pressure and grappling game. And Leal either finishes you or doesn't win. And if he can get outpointed to a decision by Sadabusi, I know that Rinat Fakhretdinov can get enough takedowns in key moments to win the rounds that matter, along with the fight as a whole. Another split decision win for this unbeatable Russian. And Turki Al-Sheikh starts off the card happy as a clam, giving Dana's hand a bigger squeeze than usual. So a success for the UFC.
Cool. All right. Well, our next fight will be Bruno Silva.
Yo, Andrew B.
Yeah, what's up, Andrew? Good to see you. He says he's just stopping by real quick. He's not going to stay. Well, hey, I'm glad to
But
see you.
he's also been doing his own live streams recently, which have been very fun. So keep up the good work, Andrew B. Keep expanding.
So you got Bruno Silva versus Ismail Naurdiev. This is at middleweight.
Naurdiev.
Bruno Silva. Oh shit. Sorry. Bruno Silva is not looking so hot. He's only 1-4 in his last 5. Jeez. Fuck. Definitely a far cry from the days where he took Alex Pereira to that close decision. And then over here is Ismail making his debut in the UFC. He's fought in Brave for most of his career. He's 23-7. Actually fighting out of Morocco. So, you know anything about Ismail?
Let me look. Yeah, he's been on the regional scene. Oh yeah, he got knocked out by Vadim Kutsi, who was on Contender Series recently.
Okay.
And he's mostly lost to decent guys, and everyone else he's gone to decisions.
Man, this is a tough one. Sometimes when there's a debuting prospect, you know, you instantly want to go for the prospect just with the better record, especially since Bruno Silva has lost his last, 3 fights. Shit. The last fight he fought, he lost to Gerald Mearshart by choke, knocked out Brad Tavares, lost to Brendan Allen, Shara Magomedov. Ooh, that's kind of a bad loss. And that's right. He had that fight against Weidman.
Yeah, I poke KO.
Oh, shit, man. Again, I don't know anything about Ismail's game. I don't know if he's a wrestler.
Good to see you, chummy boy.
Or if he's a knockout guy. If he's one, I don't know. Shit.
He seems multifaceted to me, but that's just my opinion.
In that case, I think I'd want to pick against Bruno Silva, but I would say, man, he didn't look terrible against Weidman. I think he even hurt him at a few points with the leg kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
I think we should
Weird
probably
fight.
call that Weidman loss, like just scrap it altogether, honestly. He did take, the real problem here is the 35 thing versus a 28-year-old prospect. I think I'm going to go with Ismail here. But again, I don't know enough about him to really make a confident pick in this one. So,
hey, in the granite, good to see you.
What's up, coming? Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Hank, good to see you, man. You a gangster. But I got Ismail Naurdiev by decision as well. Listen, if Bruno Silva can be outpointed for 2 rounds by a 40-year-old Chris Weidman, I think this 28-year-old Moroccan prospect is going to get it done the same way, not through eye pokes, but by eking out a decision. Although the eye poke route is always there, the UFC just allows it every once in a while. People are saying that both these fighters are shit, but Naurdiev got knocked out by Vadim Kutsi, who had a very competitive fight on Dana White's Contender Series a few years later, and only had 1 loss going into their fight. I think he was 17-1. Sue him for losing that fight. He did get armbarred by a 21-7 guy, but that was a submission artist. Bruno Silva is clearly a power puncher with no submission ability, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak to boot. So honestly, he should be cut from the promotion at this point. But he's being given one more chance. I can understand Chris Weidman beat him via bullshit. And I think that he's going to squander that chance, unfortunately. Honestly, at this point, Bruno Silva, the flyweight, has a better chance against Naurdiev than middleweight Bruno does. At least there's a chance at a knockout. Middleweight Bruno's power and technique are both gone. He couldn't finish old man Weidman. Nardiev's going to be faster and more technical here, enough to get the 29-28 decision. Weidman can go on to greener pastures like Karate Combat, Silva can go on to greener pastures like Karate Combat, hosted by Boss Rutan and Robin Black. Yeah, that would be a better fate for Bruno.
I agree. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's just far cry away from his competitive fight with Alex Pereira. So the next fight will be Farid Basharat getting a layup. Let's be honest, against Victor Hugo. I believe he's also the biggest favorite on the card. So
that's what I saw in Tapology.
It's a bantamweight contest. Farid 12-0, Victor Hugo 25-4. They're all 5-0 in their last 5. Farid beating Taylor Lapilus 9 months ago. Gosh, that seems like forever ago. Clayton Rodriguez, Damone Blackshear.
Where's he been, man?
Beating Alan Begoso on the Contender. He's 27, 5'8". Victor Hugo beating Pedro Falcao, Eduardo Torres by sub to get into the UFC, and then having some fights on, let's see, Qualify Combat. Yeah, who knows? I mean, again, 31-year-old bantamweight, pretty easy to fade him in this fight. Not knowing enough about his game, I don't remember his fight with Pedro Falcao. Who the fuck does? Gonna pick Basharat. The question is, how does he get it done? Looking at his last couple contests, like against the higher level guys, he's getting the decision wins. So I think it's possible he gets a finish here, but I'm just gonna go the safe way and pick him by decision. What say you?
Yeah, I think that's wise as well. I'm going with Farid Basharat by decision too. The irony of this fight is if you put both fighters' nicknames together, they read ferocious striker. Yet both these guys are man-smothering submission artists. No diddy. So it is not fitting at all. Victor Hugo's supposedly a striker. His nickname suggests it. Yet all of his finishes as of late have been by knee bar and heel hook. However, that doesn't mean he can't get taken down and out-wrestled himself, as there were moments when Pedro Falcao was able to get on top of him and control him for big stretches of that fight. I'm sure that Farid Basharat, who has spent his whole career out grappling and submitting premier opponents. Oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Capitan Rafuco? What's up, boys? Raph in the building. Boom! Yes, sir. Can do the same and then some. He was able to do it to Taylor Lapalus, who's a tough cookie for any bantamweight to deal with. Much less an emerging rookie prospect, but he was able to get it done. I feel like Farid shows that ferocious energy his cat-faced brother, Javid, has been lacking as of late, and ragdolls Hugo on the ground for the brutal, vicious 30-27 decision. My God, stop the presses. He's going to get a decision. Can you believe it?
The next fight is Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Chris Barnett. So Kennedy Nzechukwu, 12-5 overall. This is at heavyweight. He's 3-2 in his last 5, losing his last fight by split to Oven St. Preux.
Don't remind me.
And getting knocked out by Dustin Jacoby. So he's 32, 6'5". On the other end, you've got Chris Barnett. He is 3-2 in his last 5 as well. Not on a 2-fight losing streak, though. Just kind of more up and down than anything. The last win was to Jake Collier, losing to Martin Boudet, getting the win over Gian Vellante, and losing to Ben Rothwell. So nobody that Chris Barnett has fought is even on the roster anymore.
That's not a good look.
He's 5'9", so you have a huge size advantage. But down to the actual analysis of this fight. So Kennedy Nzechukwu, when he first came on the scene, he was a decent looking heavyweight prospect. Just the main thing about him is I truly don't believe that Kennedy is a fighter. Like, he doesn't really have that that killer instinct. I think
he just has a little technique in and out,
But with his coach, who is Saif Saud, Fortis MMA head coach is Saif Saud. He's a fantastic coach, and he has been able to bring out that in him in his last fight. That sub to Devin Clark and that knockout against Ion Kutalaba, knocking out Carl Robertson. Like, it's able to come out in him. I just don't think that he really has it in him. On the other side, you've got Chris Barnett, and Chris Barnett is fun, man. He's fun.
Yeah,
I love watching his fights.
Of heavyweight fun. Heavyweight.
Only heavyweight that's out there throwing spinny kicks and shit like that. He'll do a spinny kick where he touches the ground and then throws a high kick up to the head of his opponent. He's a very fat man, but you know what? He's got cardio at heavyweight
and character.
Kennedy seems to fade as the rounds go on. With that being said, though, even though Kennedy is on that 2-fight losing streak, and actually his last fight to Vince was 6 months ago, it still is hard for me to pick Chris Barnett. Chris Barnett having a lot of canceled fights. His last fight he had to pull out of because of some family issues due to Hurricane Milton, which I believe he actually lives and trains down in Florida. It's hard for me to pick.
I think he's had 4 or 5 canceled fights.
Right, and so just not being able to get to the cage, I'm sure that he's excited to be in the spot. I know this fight will be fun. I honestly think Chris Barnett wins the first round as well. I have a hard time really picking him and having him be a serious contender.
Right.
On Kennedy Nzechukwu's side, though, definitely not a serious contender either. But yeah, this is a toss up. That's one thing I like about this card is there's a lot of pretty close fights. I don't know, man. I have a hard time picking Chris. I think if Chris wins, he could win a decision, which is probably the way I should go. But I'm actually going to pick Kennedy to get a knockout. Probably I'll go safe. I'll go third round. But
Skatesman way.
No. I'll probably go second round. But I do think there's a good chance Chris Barnett actually does get the win here.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with him by round 1 KO. Hit the Hank the Tank way. African Savage versus. Oh, by the way, we actually warranted a second comment from Capitan Rafuco, which is incredible. Damn, Skate, you look like one of my uncles with that. I got it, the Chris Barnett. The Beastie Boy is the winner by a knockout. So that is what Capitan Rafuco thinks about all that. The African Savage versus the Beast Boy. Never thought I'd see this fight in a million years, especially since Kennedy and Chris fight at different weight classes entirely. But that yeah, Kennedy fights at light heavyweight and Barnett.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's so weird that this
That's crazy. Okay. You know what? That actually makes me feel even more confident about picking him. Less of a weight cut. Maybe he'll have a little bit more cardio.
Yeah.
Maybe, but that could lead to a lack of discipline on some ends. But that's actually interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's easy to tell. They're both pretty big boys. But that being said, I'm going with the faster, taller, and more active fighter out of the two of them, Kennedy Nzechukwu, as much as it pains me to. I wish I never had to pick this dunce again after the performance he had against 40-year-old Ovince St. Preux. But here I am again. He's an actual athlete. He's not a fat tub of an obese man, and he can get into exchanges without falling over. So I'm going with him. No brainer. I wish I could pick Chris Barnett here to send this fraud packing from the UFC for good. But unfortunately, he hasn't fought in 2 years. He's had every recent fight canceled for some reason or another, most of them being Barnett dealing with shit like injuries, a hurricane taking out his house recently, and maybe just him being a professional ducker since he's withdrawn 4 times in his last 6 canceled fights. Plus, he's 38 years old and a fat heavyweight. I can't pick him against the athletic and younger guy. Kennedy will rock him on the feet and leave a crater on the mat when Barnett crashes in onto it. First round knockout, no front flip booty break, no Jones. Easy KO for the eternal light heavyweight journeyman, Kennedy Nzechukwu. Don't screw this one up, dude. Come on.
You know what? I do think that Chris Barnett is pretty athletic, though.
He is, and yeah, he can be as well. But just watching that Jake Collier fight, like there were times where he was tripping over, or he could literally. Collier was pushing him, and he was falling.
It's like
down
a capoeira guy, it seems like. But anyway,
yeah.
Next fight will be Avis Magomedov going against Bruno Ferreira. It's a middleweight contest, so Avis Magomedov 3-2 in his last 5, 26-6-1 is his record. He's 34. Last getting a win against Worley Alves, a decision win against Worley Alves in 2024. Not impressive. Losing to Kyle Braulio and Sean Strickland. Not bad losses.
No.
Dustin Stoltzfus and a guy's name who I cannot pronounce in KSW.
Cesarius Kesik.
On the other side, you've got Bruno Ferreira getting a knockout win with a spinning elbow against Dustin Stoltzfus. Phil Hawes, he flying knee. Got a knockout loss to Nursultan Ruzabayev, who was supposed to be on the card. Gregory Rodriguez, he knocked out. And also getting a knockout in this Contender Series fight. He's 31 years old. He's 5'10". This is an interesting matchup. I think that Avis Magomedov, it's hard to say how good he is. I don't think he's very good, but he's quite technical in spots. He's somewhat patient. I think he has, I don't know, dude. It's really hard to say because he got knocked out so fast against Sean Strickland. And
it was pathetic.
Nobody expected that. And also losing a decision to Kyle Braulio, like I don't remember that fight, but not a bad loss to have. Also going the distance with Kyle, not bad. This is before Kyle really was coming into his own, though.
I think that was Almeida versus Lewis. That was the card. Because it was Brazil, and Baralho was one of the fighters.
Kyle was out of town, so I don't even think I watched that card.
Yeah,
but
I was fucking watching some random shit with the boys when that was happening, but I couldn't help but watch the results.
I think Avis has a chance to win the decision here. But I do think that Bruno Ferreira is going to come at him like a fucking bull in a china shop in the first round and in the second. I think he'll start to peter off after that if he doesn't get a finish.
Right.
But with that being said, I'll go Bruno Ferreira. I'll go round 2 KO just to be safe. But again, I do think that the taller Abus and having that, I mean, they both fought pretty decent competition. I just think that Abus has been in there against like higher level guys. Worley Alves, though, like not necessarily, but Worley Alves is a tricky vet. I think there's a case to be made for him to win a decision. I'm just not feeling confident in it.
Well, you have reason to be confident now because it was wise. You got the same pick as Hank the Tank. So if we both are worried about our pick, they'll both crash and burn. So that's good insurance. I'm going with him by round 2 KO. Hulk smash time once again. If you've watched that fight Abu had with Sean Strickland, you know that he started to crumble as soon as he was eating enough jabs from Strickland. That's just a really suspect way to go out in a fight, to volume strikes rather than a big shot. It's like getting knocked out by Nate Diaz. Bruno Ferreira is way faster and way more powerful than Strickland, though he is a former middleweight champion. This guy has knocked out pretty durable guys with punches and elbows. Dude's a dog and a fireball when he gets going. I don't think Abu has dealt with this kind of striker, and though he'll probably catch Ferreira a few times with strikes, it won't be for long, and the more persistent Hulk will find an opening and have his head bouncing off the canvas in the second round. He's good in his takedown defense too, so it's not like Abu's grappling will be a problem for him here. Against the actual contenders, Magomedov doubles over, and I think Ferreira's a legit contender. So remember, don't trust a German, Kurt. Don't trust a German.
Well, in our next fight, we have a Polish man versus a Kyrgyzstani. Miktelbek Orobai coming back against Mateusz Rebecki. This is at lightweight. Miktelbek is 13-1-1. He's 26 and 5'10". He last got that win over Elvis Brenner, Uros Medic, and then having a bunch of knockouts in LFA. Mateusz Rebecki, though, on the other end, he's 32 out of Poland, 5'7". Was on a really nice win streak. He's only 19-2. And then he ran into Carlos Diego Ferreira.
Yeah.
And if you remember, after that fight, dude, his eyes were fucked up. You saw the hospital pictures.
They're both
bleeding out of his
was
eyes.
horrific.
Like he got absolutely fucked up by Carlos Diego Ferreira, and in a really unexpected upset, we just did not see coming. CDF outlasted him. Fucking smashed the gas on him in the second and third round and just beat the absolute hell out of him. Paradox says, remember when Bruno KO'd Robocop? How could we forget?
Made me so sad.
Burned image into my brain. But so obviously you have like a really heavy grappler in Mateusz Rebecki. I think his striking got exposed in his last fight.
It did.
Miktelbek Orobai, though, I definitely have watched his fights. I do remember his fight with Elvis Brenner was competitive in moments, but he largely dominated the fight. Is Miktelbek more of a striker, or is he just like well-rounded?
It's just, I think you've asked me this question before, and I told you that he had some fights in LFA where he was just fucking styling on fools. And 1, 2, 3, 4 reverse fucking elbow knockout wins. So if people forget, man, if you go back to his fight with Brenner, he knocked him down in the first round and in the third round. So I actually think he's a pretty complete fighter. I think a lot of people considered him to be a grappler when he had that fight with who was the guy he was facing before Brenner? It was his debut opponent. It was Uros Medic. Yeah, that's right. And instead of it being a big war like I expected it to be, he took him down and he basically just laid on him and rolled his way forward and got the neck crank. So everyone was like, oh, God, he's another crotch sniffer. He has no striking prowess whatsoever. But people should have watched his earlier fights because as soon as he had to have a stand-up war with Brenner, he fucking was beating his ass. So I think he's a complete fighter through and through.
Okay, so you think that he's got the cardio in the game to outlast Rebecki's grappling?
Yeah, I think that there will be moments where he's going to crack Rebecki, and then that's the moment where he can take him down.
It's another fight where you kind of go like, okay, Rebecki round 1, Miktelbek maybe late round 2 KO. If it goes Rebecki's way, you could see him getting that decision win.
Right.
We are in the Middle East, so they do tend to favor like the Eastern Bloc guys and some of the guys from the Russian regions, but I think that Rebecki's got a good case to win this fight. He had a bad look against CDF. I think a lot of people are going to fade him in this spot, but I think I'm going to go with oral by decision. It's tough though because I think that we really just saw Rebecki on a bad night, and I'm still pretty high on him. So I wouldn't fade him 100%, and maybe I have to look into some Miktelbeck Orabai fights before really saving my picks for the event on Saturday. And we also have Agent Very Feel, and he says, I don't know what he says, but you know what? Good to see you.
And it could have just been the performance of Carlos Diego Ferreira's life, but I do think that there were holes in Rebecki's game that Orabai is going to exploit here. I got to go with Homo erectus here. If Carlos Diego Ferreira can gradually break Mateus Rebecki down over time, I know the caveman can. With dangerous striking on the feet and excellent pressure on top, I think he can win at least 2 out of the 3 rounds by cracking an already severely damaged Mateus Rebecki from the previous fight and grinding him out on the ground. Maybe even finding a TKO or a submission victory somewhere during this, but I find it more likely that this is a scrap between 2 grapplers, and Orabai comes out better in the exchanges. No diddy. Rebecki isn't looking like the same Rebecki we once knew, and it'll be fresh meat for the caveman to hunt so we can survive the winter with food and clothing. So, yeah, I got Orabai. I just think that he's a great striker, a very underrated striker. And if he keeps him down, he's going to keep him down.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess the question is if Rebecki gets him down, does he stay down?
Good question.
But yeah, next fight will be Jeff Neal versus RDA. 2 welterweights. Obviously, RDA, former champ at lightweight. Jeff Neal, 15-6 on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Ian Gary by split. And to Shavkat by rear naked choke. I mean, who doesn't lose the Shavkat by finish? Beating Vicente Luque and Santiago Ponzinibbio. And then losing that decision to Neil Magny. He's 34, fighting out of Dallas, Texas. 5'11" is his height. On the other side, you got RDA. And he's 32-16, longtime vet in the game, 50-50 fighter, but not beating, but had a close fight, competitive fight with Gamrot. Losing to Vicente Luque, beating Barberina, got knocked out by Fazeev, and decision win against Renato Moicano. I actually think this is a really close fight and actually a fantastic fight. Honestly, though, I think that he says, hold on. He says Orabai will be known as Oral Boy after Rebecki fucks his.
Wow, pulled a Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder.
That is a fantastic translation.
The actual what he said was, I think Rebecki will win, and he over exaggerated with that one. Great stuff, Agent Very Few. I'm glad you were descriptive there. Very creative.
So Jeff Neal definitely was he's a decent fighter. He kind of just loses to like the high level guys, the top 10 of the welterweight division. On the other side, RDA, man, I think this is a competitive fight, but I also really think that RDA is just better at lightweight. I really truly think he is, man. And honestly, like, we got to stop for a second and just talk about the fantastic record that RDA has. I love doing this. Hold on, let me see. I love doing this. I love reading off Rafael Dos Anjos' record. If I could really fast. Let me see.
He is a ballot Hall of Famer.
I love reading off his record, dude. It is every time I look at his record, I'm blown away by the people that he's fought.
Yeah, so, the magnitude.
Let's check this out. Mateus Gamrot, Vicente Luque, Brian Barberina, Rafael Fazeev, Renato Moicano, Paul Felder, Michael Chiesa, Leon Edwards, Kevin Lee, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Robbie Lawler, Neil Magny, Tarek Safadine. It was a decent fighter. Tony Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez, Cowboy Cerrone, Anthony Pettis, Nate Diaz, Benson Henderson, Jason High, Khabib, Cowboy again, Evan Dunham.
Crazy.
Kamal Shalaris at the time was a really highly touted wrestler. Gleison Tebow. George Soteropoulos was like the next guy from Australia. Clay Guida, Terry Edom, Tyson Griffin, Jeremy Stevens. I mean, dude, he's fought them all. RDA has fought fucking everybody. But honestly, this is just not his time. I think this is a pretty classic striker versus grappler, though RDA can hold his own on the feet. Not to mention the cardio to outlast Neil Magny, or sorry, Jeff Neal. I have a hard time picking RDA in this fight.
Yeah.
But I think this is a fantastic fight. And actually, I think these odds are pretty good for RDA. He's not a bad bet. Just I don't know, man. I can't confidently pick RDA. I can't super confidently pick Jeff Neal either. But I'm gonna go with Jeff Neal by decision. But again, not an easy fight to pick for me.
I think I'm going to go with Jeff Neal by round 2 KO for this one. RDA will really just take any matchup they give him, huh? Well, this time his gamble's really blowing up in his face because Jeff Neal is afraid of no wrestler at welterweight and will spin your head around on the feet for your troubles if you want to swing with them. That's why Ian Gary ran away from him for most of the fight, like the cuck he is. The former lightweight champion still has a fluke sub in his back pocket, but he couldn't get Luque down for most of their fight. And we saw how Neal did Luque. If RDA fails his takedowns against Neal, he's going to be feeling those hands of steel, and it won't be pretty. The fact that Neal made his fights with Shavkat and Gary close tells me that he still got it and still presents a big threat to most welterweights in the rankings. So former lightweight who's 40, I don't think won't be giving him that many problems. And I actually see Neal knocking RDA out after he's failed a few of his takedowns and attempts to win on the feet. Big comeback win for Neal, and maybe the retirement fight of RDA, depending on how dirty Neal does him. No diddy, but I'm rooting for Rafael dos Anjos. He is a legend, and he dropped Gamrot, so for that I'm eternally
it was
grateful.
A close fight. Let's see. Paradox is saying RDA is a bad bet. He's fading me. Look, I mean, I understand, but I think like RDA by decision isn't the worst bet. Probably get good odds on it. Not saying put all your money on it, but don't be like Stiff. RDA is 40. Jeff Neal almost killed Vicente Luque. Well, I don't know about that, but oh yeah, wait, didn't he give him a brain bleed?
Yes, he did, and he's never really looked the same since.
Believe in Neal, have faith in Jeff. Jeff Neal was landing clean shots on Shavkat and giving him trouble. What is up, Sebastian? I don't know if I've seen you in here before, man. Good to see you.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Fire MMA math by Hank. RDA will get cut. Jeff Neal will win by first round cut. Referee stop.
Terrible. No. That's not what we want in any universe.
All right. So, yeah, he gave him a brain hemorrhage or something. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So, yeah, the next fight will be Ibo Aslan versus Rafael. Light heavyweight. The last Ottoman, Ibo Aslan. He is 13-1. He got rid of the pleasure man for us, Anton Turkali.
Yeah, what a bastard.
Rafael has had a lot of fights on the regional scene, but he is undefeated. I did hear Dana White say in the presser that he was supposed to be on the prelims, and then they moved him up because they have really high hopes in him. I mean, to me, that's like your green light to pick Ibo Aslan. Knocking out Anton Turkali he's a decent grappler. I have no idea about Rafael, and I don't think anybody does. This is his debut in the promotion. Again, undefeated, having knockouts and stuff. I mean, well, tell me about him.
I'll get to my description.
No, I mean, I'm serious.
He's the number one heavyweight in Brazil, and he's very tall, and he's a knockout machine.
Okay, cool. That's what's up. I don't remember that fight against against Anton Turkali and Ibo Aslan, but I do think it was pretty quick.
No, it lasted 3 rounds. It was back and forth.
Okay. Oh man. Well, I'm probably still gonna pick him. They have high hopes for him, but I don't know enough about either man to really make a confident decision. So, Hank the Tank doing the heavy lifting. What do you got?
Thank God we finally have a disagreement on this fucking card. I called it before we even went on the show. When it comes to the Middle East, we're going to have a bunch of picks that we agree with because they are setups for most of these guys. But we're going to have yet another Brazilian upset on the card. I'm going with Rafael Cerqueira by round 2 KO. Rafael Cerqueira is the number 1 heavyweight in Brazil on Tapology. Heavyweight. And by the way, this is being fought at light heavyweight. And now this mountain of a man, same height as the pleasure man, Anton Turkauj, by the way, is moving down to light heavyweight to face Ibo Aslan, who is having a pretty competitive fight with Turkauj in the rematch before that late third round KO. Cerqueira, though he has mostly been crushing cans in Brazil, has been getting a variety of knockouts on the regional scene on guys in the first round. The way he should be, including against guys with only one loss on their records. Knees, spinning elbows, body kicks, submissions. This guy's very flexible in how he gets the job done. And I think that'll be too much for old Ibo to handle. Even though this guy's Aslan, Raphael's the true lion of Narnia. It's in his nickname after all. And he's feasting on the Ice Queen this time. Trust!
I don't know what that impression is supposed to be.
It's Israel Adesanya recently watching the Chronicle of Narnia. And, oh, where? Hey, Willie time! Where are you, boy? Anyway, Aslan is the last Ottoman, and he will be the last Ottoman after he gets sent packing from the UFC by a Brazilian heavyweight. Botched! In all seriousness, it seems like there's at least one Brazilian on an Abu Dhabi card who vanquishes the hyped-up Eurasian prospect every once in a while. And this looks like one of those fights. I'm picking the taller, scarier Brazilian to get the job done and send Aslan down to the canvas by round 2 KO. I just think he's too much to handle. And even Pleasure Man Turkauj was giving Aslan troubles. I think this guy's scarier.
Matua says, cut both these dudes. Ibo Aslan
He just entered the UFC.
A little sloppy, but he's handsome. Raphael has a little film on him. He fights cans, but he has good striking. Aslan not sharp. Sicaria fought grocery store back.
You know, the grocery
IT
store
workers, and he's never fought anyone. And then Paradox claps back with neither did Khabib. Yeah, I mean, you guys got to stop with the Khabib hate, man.
Yeah.
Never got cut.
He's GOAT, brother. He's GOAT. And he had sex with the GOAT too, brother.
I don't know if he's the GOAT, but I also don't think he had sex with the GOAT. But,
well, it's one or the other.
Next, I mean, dude, he trained with a fucking bear when he was a kid. Of course, the guy's a fucking savage.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Shara Puchin Magomedov versus Armen Petrosian. Ooh, this is a good fight. This is a good fight, man. Armen Petrosian, the brother of kickboxing great Giorgio Petrosian, who got knocked out by Superbond. But anyway, Sharaputin.
Nice bit of trivia.
They're both. This is a middleweight contest. Sharaputin is 14-0. He is 30. On the other side, you have Armen Petrosian, who is 8-3. His last loss was to Rafael Rodolfo Vieira by quick sub. I remember that. I actually picked him to win. CLD, AJ Dobson. I almost said Hobson. He beat and then lost to Kyle. So seeing a pretty clear, like, Armen does not do well against submission guys. On the other side, Sharaputin, just fighting 2 months ago against Oleg Sejcik. He beat Antonio Trucoli, Bruno Silva, and had some fights on the regional scene. Oh, man, this is a tough fight to pick for me. This will be a good kickboxing fight, though. I do know for a fact that Shara will eventually start to gas in the third round. Armen Petrosian, just like not that good, but he is a good striker. I don't know if he's necessarily like a knockout guy, though, right?
No, he goes to decisions.
I think the kicks of Shara are better than the kicks of Armen, but I also think Armen's hands are better. Who's the taller guy in this matchup? I wonder. 6'3" versus 6'2", so pretty fair. The younger man will be Shara come fight night. As much as I really don't want Shara to win, and also he looked like a 60s or 70s musician. He looked like fucking Russian. God, what is his name? Elton John at the press.
Oh yeah, you know that Russian.
He looked like Russian Elton John at the presser. Fuck, man. Am I about to pick Sharaputin Magomedov by decision? God, I hope
yes,
not.
You are.
I think I am, but I want Armen to win. The problem is that he just never really looks that good in any of his fights, and neither does Shera, to be fair. I do like this fight though because it's gonna be a good matchup. Man, he did go to split decision with RoboCop at one point though, and honestly, I think that's a better win than
Broccoli.
any of Sharaputin's wins. Man, I want to pick Armin, but I think I'm gonna have to go against him and go ahead and pick Sharaputin.
Wise decision, Skatesman. Wise decision. And speaking of decisions, I'm going with Sharmagomedov by decision. I'm getting really tired of picking this psycho bastard by decision. Somebody give this guy a real challenge so he can get squashed like a bug already. He's not top 15 material. Armin Petrosian is a solid striker, yes, and he did beat Christian Leroy Duncan. But the dude is also low output on the feet and goes tit for tat with his opponents using toe tapping leg kicks and quick jabs from afar. He's not ready for a scrap, and at his age, he's less quick or accurate than Sharmagomedov, even with two eyes. If this is a battle of who can outstrike or outpoint the other, I think it's going to be Shara. It's how he beat Mikhail Oleksiejczuk and Bruno Silva. He's just quicker to the punch and more sniper-like in his strikes. Petrosian lets his damage accumulate over time. He hasn't knocked out anybody as of late. By the time he starts pouring it on Shara, I think it'll be too late. He'll have already won 2 rounds and continued his mediocre reign of terror. So give me Magomedov to deliver yet another kryptonite bullet to Superman's chest and keep the easily derailed hype train chugging along in the Middle East.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. The one thing that I mean, you kind of have to respect, but also you don't like about Shera is that he keeps calling for like higher level guys.
He tries.
I think
they know what'll happen though.
Yeah, they're slow rolling him for sure. He's just not that good. Matua says that is a crazy picture of Shera Bullet.
Yeah, it looks crazy in general.
Matchup. I think this will be a good fight. In this fight, grabbing the fence should be allowed. Fighter should be awarded a point during a fence grab.
Battle of the fence grabs.
He doesn't like the nicknames. Armin looks like he manages a sex trafficking operation.
I swear to God, he keeps comparing guys to sexual predators. He said when Alex had a fucking Jaguar suit on during the press conference, oh, this guy looks like Diddy. He looks like a sexual predator. It's like, just stop accusing people of having sex trafficking operations.
And then Shera looks like he does security for sex traffickers. Yeah, Matua's he's a weird one, but that's why we love him. In reality, both of them are pillow fisted, and I think the decision might lean one way. Interesting. Talking like in riddles now. I think Paradox is.
It's a paradox.
Yeah, I don't know. I want Shera to lose.
Well, I think we were all hoping so, especially if you know his background.
I hope my pick is wrong. The next fight is Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. 145. Fantastic fight, by the way. Lerone Murphy undefeated, but he does have one draw, beating Edson Barboza, Culibao, Gabriel Santos, Makwan Amirkhani, and Douglas Silva de Andrade. Dan Ige coming in 2 hours notice against Diego Lopez, losing that fight.
Yeah.
Andre Fili, he fucking murdered him.
Great fucking knockout.
Lost to Bryce Mitchell, beating Nate the Train and Damon Jackson by KO. He's 33, 18-8. It's his record. So it's a good fight. But at the same time, Lerone Murphy, though I do like Lerone Murphy quite a bit. Undefeated, obviously. You got this. He's just so patient. And though you like that in a prospect, I think at this level, like, the patience that he displays is a detriment.
Yeah.
Because he just does not do enough and he doesn't throw enough punches to make it decisive. Now, he did eventually wear down Edson Barboza and just beat the hell out of him.
No, that was hard to watch.
Not for me. It was
it was your pick.
Well, not only that, I knew Edson was going to lose. Like, I don't know. It was just... Anyway, but in this fight in particular, Dan Ige is not that dude. I think he's got a lot more volume, a little bit more of a pressure game. Just the thing is when he steps up the pressure, does Lerone Murphy match it? I guess. I think it's easy to pick Lerone Murphy in this spot. I think Dan Ige's got something sneaky for him planned. I don't know if Dan Ige gets a knockout. I think you'll see a close decision, 29-28, in favor of either guy. But man, I don't know. It's a tough one to pick for me. I want to pick Lerone, but I also want to pick Dan. I think Lerone Murphy can fall behind in this fight.
Right.
And I think Dan will eventually cruise on him. But again, this will be a close fight. I even predict split decision for whoever wins. And I don't think Dan Ige is going to be able to catch Lerone Murphy for a knockout. So I guess in that case, I got to go with Lerone Murphy. But I just question the pace that Dan Ige is going to put on him and the pressure and see how Lerone Murphy matches that pace.
Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, good. Because I had to do some mix and match with the plugin because my battery was low. I am also going with Lerone Murphy. But wait, who did you pick? Murphy? Okay, I'm going with Murphy by decision. Jesus Christ, we're agreeing on too many fights here.
I know, it's bad.
That's bad. I'm going with Lerone Murphy by decision. Once again, this pick pains me. Lots of picks against fan favorites on this card. To have to go with the technical striking wrestling hybrid against the power puncher. But it seems like Murphy has the ability to mix in the takedowns with his overall striking game. And I was not impressed with Ige's wrestling defense against Bryce Mitchell or Diego Lopez on short notice, for that matter. And both
can't really count that fight against him.
I can't knock him for the Diego Lopez, but I will say that in both instances, the wrestler was able to get the fight down to the mat if they wanted to, whether Ige was on his back or not. It just seems he gets dragged down pretty easily. Murphy's wrestling wasn't shown that much against Barbosa, but he can get takedowns on strikers and beat them up on top. Unfortunately, I think Ige's weakness will always be his grappling, and no matter how many times he catches Lerone with a big shot, Murphy's striking defense will be sound enough to not get chinned, and then the takedowns will present themselves in the midst of Ige's flurries. Murphy can get Ige down and then outpoint him in the later rounds, just like he did with Barbosa for the 29-28 decision win. No 50K for Ige this time, and Murphy won't need a miracle to win. He hardly ever does need a miracle to win. He should honestly change his nickname to something else.
I mean, his nickname is that because he got shot in the face.
Okay, then it's fitting. All right.
Yeah,
keep
he almost died, so that's why that's
Jesus Christ.
I know too much about Lerone Murphy for some reason.
Hello, legendary SS Jackson.
Says they took your jab. I think he's referring to me. Good to see you though, SS Jackson. How was the main event of the Golden Boy show?
We don't take kindly to folks who don't take kindly.
Paradox said he wasn't patient in his last fight. Yeah, that's total bullshit, dude. Go watch the fight. Go watch the fight. Murphy is too well rounded for Ige. He's longer, faster, and mixes up the grappling, something that Ige struggles with. Dude, fantastic breakdown there from Sebastian.
Good one.
Just finished watching Golden Boy card on YouTube. Was a circus. Yeah. I was watching a little bit of that. There was a fight where they ended a round like a minute early after a fighter was like on his way to getting a knockout. Super weird. Anyway, yeah, this is a good fight though. I like it. Next fight is Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic.
This card's stacked.
Magomed Ankalaev, man, he's 19-1, and this is a light heavyweight contest. He's 19-1-1, 3-0-2 in his last 5. Have we ever seen that before? Previewing a fight.
Wait, yeah. What did you say?
He's 3-0-2 in his last fight. 2 draws.
Yeah, we've never seen somebody do it. I mean, maybe somebody on a lock or underdog for a regional show, but I don't even remember.
Alexander Rakic is 14-4. He is 2-3 in his last 5, losing to Yuri 6 months ago. TKO by Jan Blachowicz. Took a long layoff after that fight, but he did have 2 wins: Diego Santos and Anthony Smith, and he won a split to Vulcan. He's 32 as well, 6'4". Shit, dude. So Magomed Ankalaev at one point was poised to be the next light heavyweight champion, and I still think he has a fantastic case for even beating the current champion in Alex Pereira. But again, just having 2 draws. One was actually for the belt, in which Jan Blachowicz retained the title. The next fight was for a number 1 contenders fight. And yeah, man. Or am I getting that wrong? Hold on a second.
Yeah,
and then he had that.
Fight.
Yeah, that's right. The weird fight in the desert with.
It was the desert, all right.
So yeah, just like this Magomed Ankalaev having this weird career up to this point. Then he got the revenge against Johnny Walker with that crazy knockout where Johnny Walker was like, whoa, looking like a wacky waving inflatable tube man. On the other side, Alexander Rakic like came in like a fucking just
Wrecking ball.
lightning bolt into the UFC, was poised to really just be that dude, and then he just had some hurdles, man. Obviously getting knocked out by Yuri, that was a big fight, long time in the making. I cannot pick again. I can't pick Alexander Rakic in this fight, dude. Though I do think that the problem with Magomed Ankalaev is, and you've made this point many times about fighters where though they have a clear grappling advantage, they don't actually implement it until they need to.
Right.
And they're hurt or the striking's not going their way. So I do truly think that is Magomed Ankalaev's biggest problem, not only in this fight, but just in a future matchup with Alex Pereira as well.
And also Dana told him before the fight that, dude, if you want to get a title shot, you have to make it a fun fight and you have to show yourself. So that's implying keep it on the feet.
Yeah, if that's not fight fixing, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
I mean, truly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
on the podcast.
They don't want boring wrestlers, and that's why Magomed Ankalaev hasn't gotten his title.
Unless their name's Zumar. Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, that's fair enough point. One thing you do know is that if Magomed Ankalaev loses this fight, Ramzan Kadyrov, which I'm sure will be either in attendance or some of his sons will be, he will be very upset. You might even see the first, well, I don't want to go there. But yeah, I sorry. You might see the first like terrorist attack.
No, Jesus.
In UFC history of Magomed Ankalaev loses.
Well, that happened with Khabib versus Conor. We've seen it already.
I don't know if that was a terror. Anyway, but if Khamzat and Magomed Ankalaev lose, you can guarantee that the main event will not happen.
Yeah, they're never holding a show in this arena again.
So yeah, I mean, I can't really confidently pick against Magomed Ankalaev. I'll pick him by decision. You may even see a finish from him, but I don't know, man. Rakic is good. If this is a kickboxing match, obviously you pick Rakic, but I think he loses to Ankalaev in this fight.
Yeah, it'll be especially painful since Magomed kind of looks like Kadyrov. That fucking.
I mean, they're both from Chechnya, so.
Oh well, yeah, yeah, but Chimaev looks nothing like Kadyrov at all. I'm going with Ankalaev by round 2 KO. I got him by finish, as Skatesman said. Magomed Ankalaev is a tough guy to put away with great stats for striking defense and a pressure-heavy style that allowed Magomed to control the range between himself and his opponents for his striking. Rakic will be a good challenge for Magomed to prove if he's a legit #1 contender. However, as his leg kicks are money and he's a grappler himself, making this a battle of who's better on the feet. And I have a feeling it's going to be Ankalaev through another shock in the pocket knockout like he had on Walker.
I also think that a lot of dudes get caught off guard by Magomed Ankalaev because they're waiting for that takedown.
Yeah, and he's good with the feinting, and it flows into his punching power. I think it will especially be so given that Dana's recently told him he has to have a good fight on the feet in order to get the title shot against Pereira, even with his first round knockout of Johnny Walker. Bald gaslighter, dude. Uncle
Yeah,
Fester.
yeah, a man who once chat all over Elite XC for telling Seth Petrozelli to keep a fight on the feet.
Yeah, and he'll do the same thing when it suits him.
Exactly.
Yeah, great double standards. He shouldn't be having a #1 contenders fight right now. This is still a good test for Magomed, and I think with his excellent timed strikes and forward pressure, eventually Rakic's kicks and combinations will become less and less effective, and the Rocket's going to start losing steam, just like he did against Yuri Prochazka. Ankalaev is more technical and hard to pull away from Yuri, so I think he survives round 1 and then finds the flash finish in round 2, especially with the title shot in the line. Rakic gasses, Magomed pounces, no diddy, and Ankalaev earns himself the title shot with a knockout win after pressure against the cage. Now do your job and book the damn title fight people want, Uncle Fester.
Why does Magomed Ankalaev not deserve a number 1 contender?
No, I'm saying he shouldn't be having a #1 contenders fight right now.
He should already be fighting for the title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally agree with that. My bad. I was kind of misinterpreting what you're saying. Yeah. Legendary SS Jackson said the main event for Golden Boy ended at a minute and 13 in the first with a body shot.
Nice.
Paradox is trying to convince me that because Lerone Murphy lit up Edson Barboza, he wasn't patient in the fight.
Mm.
Yeah. Just,
No,
I mean, go
he
watch
just
the
beat
fight.
the shit out of him. He won every round.
Just because he was patient doesn't mean he didn't light up Edson. Probably should have finished him in that fight.
Guy had plenty of life and didn't want to stand up.
Oh shit! Edson Barboza is fighting soon.
Nope,
No.
he's not. Sadly,
Edson is currently not booked. Yeah. Ankalaev takes this, but I feel like people overrate Ankalaev too much. Yeah, I'm with that.
That's why I'd pick Pereira in a fight between those two. By the way,
Yeah, same. Been a fan of Edson since middle school. Surprised he even fought as recently as May of this year. Yeah. AJ, what's up? No Chill says I got to send you a 9-minute video. Let me know when you can see it, brother. Please, Dan. Not again, says Chummy Boy. Edson Barboza, my favorite fighter. Barboza versus Hooker was a masterclass. Hank is right. Well, there you go. FBI just entered the chat. Khabib committed a terrorist act which incited a riot. Oh God. Barboza's flying knee. Yeah, no, this is just a Barboza glaze job.
Yeah.
Hold on. I just realized that when did Skate turn into Pablo Escobar?
When a girl said his beard looked nice.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to convince you of shit. I'm just being retarded. All right.
Poorly kept secret right there.
All right, look it. Here we go. Next fight. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Ooh,
A fight that Hank the Tank does not want to hear any part in Khamzat Chimaev possibly getting a win in. He's totally out on it. He thinks
that wasn't it. Wasn't that he got a win?
It's that he's never been any good. He's been overrated.
Knockout.
He said, "Screw Khamzat Chimaev. He can't get a win. He can't buy a win on a cryptocurrency site if he wanted to." But I disagree. I think that well, here, let me preview the fight real quick. So obviously a Bobby Knuckles, former middleweight champion, versus Khamzat Chimaev at middleweight. Robert Whittaker is 26-7, 3-2 in his last 5. His last win was against Ikram Aliskerov. Quick knockout on a fight card that was actually supposed to be this particular fight right here, and now it's not. Paulo Costa, he won by decision. Got knocked out by Dricus du Plessis. Marvin Vettori, he got a win over, and obviously lost that. What was it, the third fight to Izzy? Second? No, it was the second fight.
It was the third. Wait, yeah, it was the second.
It was the second fight,
and it was a close one too.
Khamzat on the other end, 13-0. He's 30 years old. Now living in Dubai, born in Chechnya. Majority decision to Kamaru Usman. Kevin Holland, he subbed him. Gilbert Burns decision. Li Jingliang quick sub, and Gerald Meerschaert knocked him out with the first punch that he threw. So again, man, this is a awesome fight. I love this fight. Shout out to Bobby Knuckles for taking this fight because I mean, really, he didn't have to.
Yeah, and shout out for him taking Aliskerov on short notice. And
dude, Bobby Knuckles, man, that fucking
gotta love Bobby Knuckles.
Only lost to former or current middleweight champions, Bobby Knuckles. True test of Khamzat Chimaev's middleweight title prospects. Khamzat Chimaev, man, I mean, I don't think that I can really say anything that hasn't already been said about the guy. I mean, here's a guy that
there's a lot to say about him.
A guy that once had the 3 quickest wins in modern UFC history outside of like a tournament or UFC 1. And then now, I mean, we haven't even seen him fight in a year.
We've seen him fight illness.
And he's only had 3 fights in the last 2 years. Super weird, man. And as you mentioned, I mean, battling illness. I remember at one point he put a post out on social media saying he was going to retire with like blood all in a kitchen sink or a bathroom sink.
The man's immunocompromised.
Ramzan Kadyrov saying, no, he's not retiring.
I'll make sure that he's not.
I mean, there's a lot of things I could really say about the relationship between Ramzan Kadyrov and his fighters, in particular Khamzat Chimaev, but this is not a geopolitics show. This is the Skate Tank MMA podcast.
The fire brother, you're fighting.
So again, Bobby Knuckles, if this fight goes to decision, Robert Whittaker wins. It's just
Knuckles
there's
leg.
no question about it. And this is Khamzat Chimaev's first 5-round fight. Am I right?
Yes, it is.
And Khamzat Chimaev, though, in the first round, he is incredibly dangerous.
He is.
So dangerous and so explosive. He's got good hands, got power in his hands, has incredible submission ability. I don't think Robert Whittaker has ever been subbed. If Khamzat Chimaev subs Robert Whittaker in the first round,
That'd be crazy.
very impressive. If he knocks him out in the first round, I wouldn't be surprised. Second round, he's still dangerous. Third round, fourth round, fifth round, all Bobby Knuckles. So really, I mean, it's basically a matter of does Robert Whittaker make it out of those first two rounds.
Outcomes.
He barely made it out of the fight with Paulo Costa in that first round before he ended up just cruising to a decision.
Good point.
A guy who I really truly believe that the wars with Yoel Romero has changed him. His chin, his gameness. Yeah, that was Robert. There's Hank the Tank doing a reenactment of Robert Whittaker in the two Yoel Romero fights. But again, Khamzat Chimaev, just we don't know. It's so weird that he's had this many fights in the UFC, and we're still questioning so many things about this man. I do think that it's very likely Khamzat Chimaev finishes Robert Whittaker in the first round. But guys, I gotta ride with my motherfucking guy, Bobby Knuckles, the first guy I got into the sport because of Khabib. So the first pay-per-view I ever bought was Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. And I've been riding with the guy ever since, even though he got knocked out really quick in that fight. Twice, actually, in the first round and then again in the second round. I got to ride with Bobby Knuckles, man. I got to ride with him by decision. Riding out those first two rounds, I'll be biting my nails. Again, this is the only fighter that I actually is like my favorite fighter is Bobby Knuckles. So I gotta ride with my guy till the wheels fall off. But Khamzat Chimaev, incredibly dangerous man, and I'm gonna be sweating this one out.
Well, you don't have to because Hank the Tank has picked him by round 4 KO. Not only is he going to win, he's going to finish him, get it done. Bobby Knuckles is reaping what the UFC has sown. But Khamzat Chimaev has been looking less and less dominant or impressive with every fight. Having a hard-fought back and forth with Burns, who's been getting bullied as of late and clearly losing to both Bilal and Brady. And after failing to submit short-notice welterweight Kamaru Usman, almost getting beat by the smaller guy with a lucky 10-8 helping him avoid defeat. I honestly think if it was 10-9 in the first round, I would have given the fight to Usman. Robert Whittaker is a fully built middleweight with better knees than Usman and has been used to stuffing the takedowns of middleweight grapplers. He'll be fully ready for Khamzat's wrestling in the first round. He's been preparing for him for half a year now. And then once this fight goes into the second and third rounds, I think it's going to be a wrap for Khamzat. Whittaker is the more polished and quick striker in the middle and closing sections of the fight. Since Chimaev is almost certainly going to gas if this fight goes for more than 10, 15 minutes. And during the middle of the fight is usually when Chimaev bores. It is his nickname after all. And he'll be wary enough to survive the second and third rounds, maybe getting tagged a few times by Robert or hit with that slick 1-2 kick combo he does. But by the fourth round, deep waters, unknown territory for Chimaev. He'll really start to gas, and that's when Robert's putting his foot on the gas, hitting him with rapid combinations, quick shots coming in, until I think he puts down Chimaev with a left hand for the TKO win. Just like Alaskarov. It's okay, Wolfie. Don't fear the Reaper.
Hey, that was a disaster. What it needs is more cowbell. I'm missing cowbell.
All right, let's read some comments. It's a possibility he could win. Yeah, I mean, the fan man, Vander Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe. This fight will be a war or a hump fest. I don't know, man.
Yep, no diddy.
Get the popcorn out, guys. We about to witness a domestic. I think he means classic. I hope he doesn't mean domestic. Chimaev dominated a champ in Usman on the ground. I don't think he'll have a problem taking down Bobby Knuckles.
He couldn't take down Burns. Couldn't take down Burns.
He didn't dominate Kamaru Usman. I think that
on short notice, Usman almost beat him.
See, look how emotional Hank the Tank gets over Khamzat Chimaev fights. Can you explain your absolute disgust and hate for Khamzat Chimaev?
I hate the fucking glazing. of this man, especially with the last 3 fights. And people are still going to say that he beats everybody after he had a really close fight with Gilbert Burns, where if he hadn't have won the third with like a knockdown, he would have lost that fight. And if he hadn't gotten a 10-8 against Usman, he would have lost that fight. And then the dude's losing to a bug and getting immunocompromised twice. He's been hospitalized twice this year. And everybody's, I mean, it's on the level of John Jones. Oh, nobody can beat this guy. Are you kidding me? Dude, Khamzat's going to be the greatest middleweight ever. You know, it's just, there's a certain fan base that won't stop sucking his ding dong. And when the fact is, he's been on decline.
Why is that surprising to you, though?
I'm honestly, I shouldn't be surprised, motherfuckers. Since all these Dagestanis, they glaze the shit out of people from or practice their faith or from their
even Dagestani is just like people.
It's nothing new, but I just think that it's overdoing it. I just there's some fans that just won't see reality, and it's
so distraught over this.
Yeah.
Why hasn't it happened yet?
Listen. I was excited for Khamzat versus Usman. I thought he was going to kill Usman. I thought it was going to be round 1 sub. Oh, easy work. Oh, he's back to the smash, brother. Yeah, I do a kill everybody, brother. Yeah, he's back. And then I just see rounds 2 and 3 with Usman and Chimaev, and I'm like, this fight sucks. Chimaev looks gassed already, and he's only in the 2nd round. Dude, that decision shouldn't have gone his way. And then looking into his past, he just seems like a punk. So, honestly, I just think he's a weirdo. So I don't like him.
Burns has some of the best takedown defense, though. So Sebastian.
And then his fan base sucks. Sorry.
We should get emotional over Khamzat. I mean, this emotional? I mean, come on.
Wait. There was a dude. There's a dude in Isha's chat. What was his name? He was the ultimate Khamzat glazer for like fucking 5 months.
I don't remember people in Isha's chat that I was arguing with.
Well, I remember them very specifically. And including Northwest, who we got into a lot of trouble by mistaking the Northwests. That was pretty bad. But yeah, what was his name? I forget. But he was basically glazing Chimaev every stream, and I just got fucking tired of it.
Said, you're gonna sound silly when Khamzat smashed this guy, brother.
Allahu
Akbar, Khamzat's cool. Smash him. Gosh, I mean, it's just so tough because he looks so amazing in moments in his career, and then the Burns fight really made us realize he wasn't superhuman, and then just all the weird shit in and out of the cage. I understand why you would fade Khamzat and like not respect his prospects of actually winning this contest.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, Robert Whittaker, a guy who is just not at his peak objectively. Also, he did get a quick knockout in his last fight. I think there's a fantastic case to be made for Khamzat getting the win here. But again, honestly, dude, I just got a ride with Bobby Knuckles. So
Bobby Knuckles, like, if he had wheels, he'd be a bike
or a wagon.
Yes, many things have wheels actually. Tricycle,
yeah, tricycle. Anyway, No Chill should do the top 1,000 things that have wheels next.
Yes.
All right.
I don't even think that it's that many.
Ilia Topuria taking on for the UFC featherweight championship.
Wowie.
Max Holloway trying to regain his belt. Ilia 15-0, knocking out Volk. Decision. Josh Emmett submitting Bryce Mitchell, knocking out Jai Herbert.
So sad, dude.
And knocking out Ryan Hall viciously. He's only 27. Fighting out of Georgia or Spain or wherever the hell from, we don't know. Germany, wherever the hell he's from. Taking on Max Blessed Holloway, man. 32 out of Hawaii. Last knocking out Justin Gaethje for the BMF title. Knocking out Chan Sung Jung, sacrificial goat in that fight was Chan Sung Jung. Beating Arnold Allen, losing to Volk, and then having the win against Yair Rodriguez. So, I mean, look, I'd like to give you guys a lot of analysis on this fight. I think that Ilia Topuria is very dangerous.
Yes.
The knockout. But I also feel like that Volk knockout was a little tainted because Volk was coming off of just getting knocked out himself. Though I think that Ilia has fantastic boxing. Talked about it on stream before. You know, it's not necessarily the one-punch power of Ilia. It's that he mixes up the combo so well. And then that 3 is what usually catches you, or the 4 is what knocks the guy. A lot of good just inside boxing, I think, from Ilia Topuria. But at the same time, Max Holloway, he's a tough guy to even corner and get 4 punches off on. I would argue. I think the kicks of Max Holloway are fantastic. Where I get interested in this one is the grappling, right?
Mhm.
Max Holloway definitely, I don't know. I can't remember any fight where he's been out grappled, but a lot of people just choose to strike with him.
Conor McGregor, he outgrappled Max Holloway during their fight.
Didn't he have a fucked up toe or foot or some shit?
Mm-hmm.
That was
McGregor took advantage.
born fighting either of their careers, and it's strange. But the one thing I will say, something I've been thinking about a lot, is Yair Rodriguez and Arnold Allen had a lot of success against Max in the fourth and fifth rounds of their fights with him. They started to pull Max out, walk him down. That's the problem. Is unless your name is Calvin Kattar, Max Holloway appears to have an issue when he's being walked down.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 very close fights against Volk. Third one was especially not close at all. I just don't know enough about Ilia Topuria to be very confident in picking him. I do think this will be a close match. Max Holloway obviously coming off of a lot of fucking momentum after knocking out Justin Gaethje and really outclassing Justin for their entire fight. The one thing that interests me as well is Max Holloway has, I think he's absorbed like 1,400 significant strikes in his career.
Yeah, and that chin still made of granite though.
It is, but at the same time, like, the one thing I know from watching fights is you don't accrue that much damage without a bill being due at some point.
Right.
Whether that is in the form of a vicious knockout in the cage, or 2 or 3 before you're Tony Ferguson and now you're just not retiring even though we're praying you do, or if it's in the form of just traumatic CTE later in your life, man. And
yeah, he's already on his way there.
I hate talking about that, but it's just the truth, man. You can't get punched that many times in the head and just not have a bill due. So if Ilia Topuria knocks Max Holloway out in this fight, I won't be surprised. At the same time, I cannot pick against Max Holloway in this fight. I really can't. I'm going to pick him to win by decision. But again, I don't know enough about Ilia, man, and he really is that dude right now. I just think that the Volk knockout was a little bit tainted, so I'm a little bit reserved in my judgment of Ilia, though. Again, I am giving him a lot of credit, and I think this will be a close fight.
Yeah, I got Holloway by decision as well. I just don't see Ilia Topuria cracking the crimson chin of Max Holloway. Topuria.
I wanted to make a compilation of every time everybody at the press conference said Ilia's name. I didn't have time to do it, but they all said Topuria.
Well, I'm changing my ways, and Idaho Skatesman is taking me there, man. I'm in reform. I'm 2 weeks sober, so I'm good from saying Ilia Topuria. I just don't see Ilia Topuria cracking the crimson chin of Max Holloway hard enough to put him away. And I don't think he has the technical capability and speed of Alexander Volkanovski to counter jab and leg kick him enough to win rounds. If anyone has the better output of the two of them, it's Max, and it'll be on full display in the later rounds once Ilia starts to slow down a little and has already thrown his best shots. If he can't put away a somewhat taller opponent in Josh Emmett, I don't think he can send Max to the Shadow Realm. And Max, who has had more experience in 5-rounders and knows how to mount a comeback to win the judges' scorecards, will gradually win the later rounds after getting at least one of the first 3 rounds for a narrow decision victory, maybe even a split decision. He tends to have them in title fights. One of Max's key trick strikes I think he can execute with greater effectiveness on Ilia than he did on Gaethje is that spinning back kick he can pull off when being pressured against the cage. If Ilia engages in his flurries with the 3 at the end, like Skatesman said, I think Max can find enough room to quickly counter with a jump and his long kick with Ilia's face and a kick, which would not only get him out of danger from the smaller opponent, but potentially time his long leg with Ilia's face perfectly, given his shorter stature, and rock him on the feet perhaps dissuading him from trying the same combination again for the rest of the round, which is really good for Max Holloway. I see a lot of potential counters for Max that can throw Ilia off his game and ultimately lead to a well-earned unanimous, but most likely split decision victory. Not saying he'll KO Ilia, but I think Topuria's style is more simple compared to...
You cannot say Topuria to save his fucking life.
Wait, is it supposed to be Topuria?
Yes.
Ilia Topuria. I think Topuria's style is more simple compared to Volkanovski's, as well as more easily counterable, and quick to figure out once you've avoided danger enough times. But hey, at the end of the day, we're gonna find out Saturday night, baby. If the best is blessed and the Matador thing red in Abu Dhabi. Trust. So.
One thing I will say about Max too is like his team is fantastic at game plan.
Really good.
I know they got something cooked up for Ilia.
Yeah, except against Volk. Except against
I think
Volk.
this will be a close fight. So
yeah.
Topuria is a nightmare matchup for Max. People keep calling me crazy.
People forget, man.
I got Max, but Ilia could take it. Exactly. Max has diverse striking toolbox. Yeah, I agree. Max consistently struggled against shorter guys. Max also loves to go to the body with kicks, which he won't be able to do much with Ilia's shorter, stocky build.
He's got that head kick, dude.
Also has the wrestling edge that makes him dangerous with the takedowns.
Yeah, but Holloway's also has really good takedown defense.
Your mileage may vary. Can't pick against America.
No, you can't.
Ilia is that dude. Shouting you out on our channel. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Tank Army.
Well, you're both getting this pick wrong. Hey, it's happened before, man. That's the thing about Max. His kicks will be rendered useless against Ilia.
Not if he's
all over again.
Nice, based. It's good stuff.
I mean, I love this fight, man. I really do. Again, I'm not as high on Ilia maybe as I should be. Maybe I'll be eating those words come the post.
Dude, if he beats Max, I'm gonna pick him in his next. Dude, then there's Diego Lopez right afterwards. He's gonna have a murderer's row of opponents and challengers. So
yeah, and I don't know, man. I like this fight, but again, in a straight up pick, like I gotta go Max Holloway. That's all it is, man. And that's really a lot of this pick'em shit that we do, man. It's like in a straight up pick, who are you picking? It's not betting, it's not gambling, but we are both sitting over 60% in our picks in general. So I mean, as far as gambling goes, I mean that's how you make money in gambling is not picking 50-50. So I mean, again, we're not even claiming to be the best pickers there is. We're consistently in the top 10, top 15 of our pick'em league, but at about 60 people. So take that for what you want. I mean, it is what it is. And you know what? We're going to find out come Saturday night.
And we're going to find out Saturday night, baby. On Saturday night, we're going to see. Okay? I don't have the answer to your question.
The hardest matchup for Ilia is Gavzar.
I don't think so.
The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu base has several successful submission wins. That's true. Yeah, that fight with Bryce Mitchell surprised me. Beat the hell out of Bryce Mitchell.
It's going to be good for sure.
So, yeah, man, I mean, that's it. We did the whole card.
We only had one disagreement on this card. And you did yours.
No, it's going to be a close contest.
So you're on point this time, man. Great minds think alike.
We might have to do a little stream tomorrow for, like, maybe some last-minute pick changes. But or at least I will. Hank the Tank, he doesn't budge. He's too stubborn to change his picks.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, any closing thoughts on this card? Anything that the chat wants to say, let us know. But yeah, I mean, hour and a half, man.
Pretty good. You know, for the fact that we had literally no regional MMA to cover and we had no shows outside the UFC, just goes to show how good this card is that we've been talking about it for an hour and 30 minutes when most UFC cards, we only talk about it for what, like 45 minutes to an hour?
Yeah.
So this is a good one. And what Turkey wants, Turkey gets.
Did Richard's Pain MMA already got banned? All right. I don't know what
he is a pain in my Richard, but no arm to him.
Well, there you go. Yeah, man. I mean, anything else you want to say? Or I mean, I'm pretty much done. I'm looking forward. I'm ready. I'm ready to just have these boys shut up and fight, man.
Yeah, I'm ready for a lot of these boys to shut up and fight. No Diddy, you know. So it's gonna be good. And I will be doing Hank the Tank's Fight Companion early in the morning, guys. Remember this. It's in the Middle East, so it's gonna be at like I think it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So set your alarm clocks because otherwise you're going to miss half of this really good card.
I hate early cards. I really do. They ruin my whole.
Yeah,
thing.
and it feels like the stakes that were there before just feel less high because you're just waking up and you're like, I'm groggy. I don't care what's happening right now.
Matua says no women's fights. Thank God.
Oh, here we go. We got our video.
I don't care about No Chill's video he's trying to send you.
Okay, I'll watch it later then. Shit.
There you go.
Fuck you, No Chill.
Good man.
Okay.
All right. With that, lead us out.
You have escaped the war zone for now. Oh, Whittaker's rocked! He's on skates! Oh my god, he cracked him with a big shot!